Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
So, welcome students. In our last class we discussed about this asset management, and we talked about something how asset management and mine closure are related. So, in continuation of the discussions, we will be talking today something about principle of asset management, and at the same time our decommissioning of assets for site restoration is a very important area, because how the site will be repurposed for new land use or new commercial utilization, there we need to know about this, how our asset will be decommissioned. That means it will have to be retired. First thing is, at the end of the life, the asset which are being used for the mining production purposes, they will have to be retired. The buildings, the machines, the roads, the hospitals, everything will have to be retired. Now, after those assets are retired, how they will be actually repurposed for different uses, that will be discussed over here. And in that, this asset management, this has been done in different places, and then different countries have got different way of doing it. As we said earlier, that in Australia it is the your asset management council, they have done this the standards like ISO 55000 I have told about. Similarly, Institute of Asset Management in UK, they have also given certain guidelines how the asset management will have to be there. And then there is a certain important terminology, like what we mean by this asset management. That means we will have to extend, or its life should be in such a way that the cost incurred for using the asset is minimal. And then also we will have to know about how to decommission, and that how that asset can be repurposed or it can be reutilized, or that whole site how it can be developed for different purposes, those will be done. Now, after this lecture, I hope that you will be able to discuss that what are those principles which are followed in managing these assets which are deployed in a mining for mineral production purposes, and then what type of standards exactly should be used. We will be coming to that later on, that explain how to adopt principle of asset management in the decommissioning and all, some you will be able to discuss. So, regarding this, when we talk of this Asset Management Institute, that is Institute of Asset Management in UK, they have given a 7-point principle. That means when you are going to use your assets in mine, we will have to think that this is not a permanent utilization, because after some time mine will have to be closed. So, that is why mining is a temporary operation, but the asset which will be there at that time will have to make it asset as a holistic purposes. That is, we will have to avoid a compartmentalized approach. That means your, while managing the asset, you will have to think of how it is linked with other, and with each uses along with the other also will have to be optimized, and then you will have to take the holistic things, that is from the mine, the different functionalities, different unit operations, all will have to be thought together, so that your particular unit operation, a particular machine for a particular time when it is there, then it has got a link with other activities. So, that need to be identified, and accordingly we will have to develop a holistic asset management principle. Then it should be a systematic, that means asset management must be highly structured framework, that is which one is related to it, what will have to be reported with the operation of one will be related to the other in what system. The dependency of different assets for a purpose will have to be taken together. And then it should be systemic, that is there is total net value of the asset must be examined within their systems context. So, it will be working in a systematic manner, in a sequential, in which way it is related, but it will be having a systemic application. These two are the principles we will have to follow. And then it is called risk based principle, that is ensure risks transparent is essential. That means whatever will be the risk of it should be known to all. Identifying the potential risk and their associated costs and benefits should be known to all the people, whoever is working directly or indirectly with that particular component. And then we will have to make it as a optimize that particular, it's whenever you are putting it or deploying an asset, it should be exactly it should try to give the optimum result, and for that is exactly the how it will be competing with different objectives, what are its influencing factors, and then what is exactly its ultimate goal for this whole overall asset management should be found. That means, as it says, it is related to its previous principles of holistic and systematic. It is exactly that interrelationship is put in such a way that it is optimized. That means, it will have to have that optimal downtime. That means, it will have to have the maintenance done optimally, so that there is a failure does not take place. So, like that it will have to be done. Then the resources must be sustainably managed, that asset whatever you are putting it there, it should sustain, not that just only one time with a particular problem you have attended and then it is not going to, not like that. It will have to be sustainably managed, considering the long term effects and short term activities. It may be today, it may be having, or every day it may be using 2 or 3 hours, but it may be having working for the whole mine life, maybe 20 years. For that it will have to work. So, these assets should be sustaining with the life of the mine. And then there are all systems, that is its performance, societal responsibility, its environmental and economic sustainability, all are taken care of, and then it is adequately provided, so that it serves the purpose reliably. And then it is integrated. It is very simple. The principle of integration is, it has got there in a mine or this different asset, it will be all working in a group. So, in its, while performing in a group, it should not, each effect should not adversely affect the other, so that it is integrated properly. So, basically these 7 are the principles which they follow, but for working all these 7, to achieve all these 7 things, you will have to have the asset management. As a good asset management means, you will have to properly organize, proper organizational structure should be there. That means, that structure for requisition, for deployment, for maintenance, for this, even for the repairing and overhauling, and also for discarding, whatever this, there should be a very proper organizational structure, so that it can facilitate the implementation of the asset management principles, and there is a coherent direction and clear guidance from the top management in which way it will be working. And then the next thing, once it is there, then your asset should be enabled to do, that is their enabler. We can say this is the enabler for good asset management, aware and empowered staff, that is staff, the persons who are to work with that asset or that operate with the machines. They should be very well aware of the goal and of these assets, that is how it is managed, how much exactly is expected from it should be very clear to the person who is operating or maintaining it. Then the competency and commitment of the staff of that whoever is exactly implementing this asset management, their competency and their commitment level, it is very, very important. Then staff capability to coordinate cross functionality across departments is important things, that if we can have the staff empowered to make decision, then exactly many times in our asset management related confusions can be eliminated and we can get the better performance. And then adequate information is another thing, that is to enable your asset management to work well. You will have to possess a full knowledge of the condition, performance, risk and costs. That is exactly, if you are taking of a shovel, that in the shovel it's depending on its make and made, what is exactly it can, in under what condition it will work better. For that shovel, what type of dumper should be there, what is the cycle time of the dumper, considering its lead distance will be compatible with the cycle time of the shovel or not. Then how it will be performing, suppose it is a rainy conditions, it is a very dry conditions, under that this, if the shovel will be having a different performance level, and that performance level with the dumper performance level, or for the dumper again with the your dozer or the your road motor grader for making the road, they are interrelated. So these regarding the information of others also should be there, so that whatever you decision you take to operate, the operator and the in charge engineer, whatever they will be taking, their decision is risk free. When they have got the all information from others, then if he says that okay, I will have to stop this machine for maintenance in the morning 2 hours 10 to 12, at that time he has got the all information that the other things are not getting affected, and you get better management of the asset. Then information and knowledge of interrelationship between factors is essential. Say it is while you are operating, say with a drill, you know that how the rotary speed of the drill or the axial thrust on the drill, how it will be affecting the penetration rate of the drill. If the penetration rate is not achieved, you cannot drill the number of holes in the mine, then you will be, your shovel will be waiting because there is no blasted rock. So that's why your all one that systematically you will have to know all the information, that is because if the blasting is not done, your shovel also will be idle. That asset, but that means the blasting was to be done by using the drill machine to drill the blast hole. So directly that near to the shovel, the drilling machine is not there, but these two assets will have to be having certain information that manager must have. Yes, my drilling will be completed in this shift, say by 1 o'clock, at 2 o'clock the blasting will have to be done, and then after clearing at 2:30 this shovel will be placed over there, the dumper will be running out of it, the system will work, and tomorrow again before 2 o'clock my all this material will go, I will do a new blast. So that means the whole mining production with the blasting and collecting and sanding, these are related with these 3-4 assets, that if they do not perform well in a coordinated manner, getting their all information properly, problem will be there. So that's why the assets which are being deployed in the mine, their they will have to enable them, and that for that enabling we will have to have the proper organizational structure. You will have to aware and empowered, that is your staff should be empowered to take decisions on wherever it is necessary, and the adequate information flow, or that your information providing and then from that information, exactly there in the field you are processing the data to give an information, and from that information you will have to develop the knowledge, and when this is there then you can get a good asset management. So, I think this point is clear to you. Then this sometimes there are certain complicating factors. Exactly, the asset management as such is simple, but sometimes they become a little bit of messy. That why? Because the conflicting priorities of the mixed messages. Sometimes the manager says something, and then sometimes say exactly the director will be wanting that it should be done in this manner, and then the concerned manager wants that no, it is exactly it's not there. In that conflict and priorities, your asset, you will not be able to, having the asset, having the energy, having the persons, you cannot give the productions. It is true in everywhere. Then lack of staff understanding about the objective of the asset management. How this asset is being managed, if it is not known and it is not very properly clearly told to the people, they will be under confusion, and the confusion means there would be a complicacy will be coming in the system. Then inadequate collaborative efforts to realize these objectives. If the objectives of each assets and are not properly discussed and known, that will also lead to some complication in the system. Then impacts of complicating factor will be in results of wasted time and resources. Sometimes see exactly you did not know that when the electricity power will not be there, that for the electrical maintenance you shut down your system, but these are not properly informed to the shovel operator, so that shovel operator did not know that power is not there, but the shovel operator could not bring the maintenance people to do the maintenance. When the power came, at that time the maintenance person has come, but she says now power is there, but the machine is idle for the maintenance job. Here these ones, by only they should have been very simple. Such complication would not have been there if proper information flow were there. So, such type of things. Then how you can exactly asset management is a part of the asset management, so that the people there and the asset is enabled to give you the maximum service. You will have to do a proper staff training. The staff will have to be trained how to report, how to attend a problem, how to exactly discuss a issue, how to keep the information, how to write the logbook, and how exactly they should analyze that small level data, and then how they should identify if something is not normal, this type of training. And then amongst them the communication of the informations between them, and that from in and out communication system should be there, and then they should be time and on be allowed to consult with the top management or some external experts, by which if things, and sometimes for getting a momentum, some of the operations can be given outsourced, because by giving outsource it should be done in such a way that we can do it within time and more work. But the main core competency job should never be outsourced. So, the outsourcing in the asset management activities can be there. Maybe you are running the machines and all, the maintenance you can give it for the outsource. Some firm will be coming and maintaining and all, so that their responsibility, and to get their business they may run keep a standby machine, that your production will not be affected, because he has kept an that is your standby equipment. If the equipment he is responsible for repairing, if it cannot repair within that stipulated time, he will provide that other equipment by which the system will be working, and he can also very clear with leisure find out the troubles and then resolve it. So, this type of things are there in asset management. So, the mining engineer, when he is to do the asset management job, there could be from the software to the rock and mineral to the winder, to different a large number of machines, or the portable mining office that coming over there inside that, because your mine is moving over there inside the pit, you can put a portable office with all your server terminals and things like that. This can be going. So now, well, you will be finding in the mine there is a diversified assets, electrical assets, civil assets, mechanical asset, mining asset, the geological asset, the townships and other facilities. Within that also certain assets are there. So, the maximum output acquired from the assets, you will have to do certain digital implementations will have to be coming, and for that you will have to promote a predictive method of asset management. So that if your machine, that is when it may expect failure, that you must predict through proper study and developing proper maintenance breakdown model, and that is where automated asset management with computerized maintenance management system came from. I think this asset management principle, that is when it is brought into a computer, we have developed this computerized maintenance management system, because whether this your mining assets, your machines or building or your road, whatever it is there, without maintenance it will not do. That is why asset management is a bigger term, but the maintenance management is a subset of it. Then you have a comprehensive asset register. You will have to know which particular component or which particular machine is giving you more trouble, it is failing very frequently, you will have to maintain the record of it, and then we can think of we can bring those things in your one asset management framework. Now, monitor asset conditions, track their depreciations, and have a rating system, how it is working compared to the other. You can compare within your mines within different units, or you can do with a different mines, or even can be done under different projects. So, by that you just make it, bring a transparency how you are doing it, and then you will be making some forecasts. That is where the tools, industrial engineering tools will be giving you. You can make the forecast, and ultimately the asset management to be very effective, you will have to work on continuous improvement. And then you have now learned, that is what is asset management, what are the principles followed. Now, let us talk about that what is your asset decommissioning. I think we discussed earlier also decommission and delinkment and then demolition. See, there are few words you need to be a little bit careful, whether is demolishing a decommissioning, or is after decommissioning do you do a demolishing. Now, decommissioning is basically putting out of service, we are decommissioned, but the things may be there. Sometimes a decommissioned system can recommissioned also if required, or it can be recommissioned elsewhere. So, this mining is a temporary operation, so many assets should be acquired for decommissioning. So, this is again a terminology, acquire for decommissioning. That means you will be decommissioning. After some uses you will be decommissioning, you dismantle, you prepare, and then you put it, it can be given to another place. So, decommissioning is the last phase in the lifetime of a facilities. Sometimes after decommissioning you can totally discard it. A pump maybe for years it has been working, it's implementable, everything done, 2-3 times it has been suppose they may do some repair and replacement, maybe rejuvenalizing of the component, then you can get it, but after some time you cannot do anything. At that time you will have to make it retear. So, the design, construction, operation and permanent shutdown, in this cycle exactly your decommissioning will have to be thought of. Now, decommissioning is a process of permanently and officially stopping of use and removing from service of uses. Now, this is, I think few years, 2-3 years ago you might have heard about the the Hindustan Motors, this ambassador car. The ambassador car, it was a pride of Indian road at some time, but you see it has been that whole their assets and everything now decommissioned, they have got closure. That is that a company got closed. Similarly, when and sometimes it is closure also without decommissioning. Example is when Kudremukh iron ore mines were closed, that Kudremukh iron ore mines was closed under the directives of Supreme Court because it was damaging some environmental and all that thing. The remaining, that is the last phase of the mine life, it was not able to decommission, and the mine closure was not actuated, but the mine closure was ordered. So, when you are ordering a mine closure under some situations, then exactly the decommissioning do not take place, and that assets and all many times become a waste. A similar things also happen in Goa, where number of mines, they were expecting that any time they may open up, they were skipping their vehicles, their trucks, assets were like that. But I do not think that the asset management could take a very proper shape over there. I do not know now whether you can study, because that is a very interesting study for you. If you want to do your any project work, you should study the mine closure, how it has been actuated at Kolar Goldfield, at say Moshabani mines of India, at Goa mines, or you can see that say exactly these mines have got closed. Even in WCL number of underground coal mines, when they have been put out of service, that assets, how it is there. Was there any asset who had got some decommission value? Then that those decommission things, how they have been exactly given to the next custodians, and that exactly the decommissioning is a process of permanently and officially stopping the use or removing of service out of the service. But if suddenly a failure takes place, you cannot take out of the service, and that is why many assets may not get a proper utilization. Say Kudremukh iron ore mines were used for the filmmaking, shooting and all that thing when the mine was running, but after that it could have been one of the most attractive, or a film city could have been grown over there. Now, you can go and check whether the Bhadra river is getting protected by that mine closure, or the revenue that the local people are they getting, or the natural beauty which is there, is it commercially utilized at the same time that nature has been developed and protected. If it is not done, it will be said that because the mine closure was not planned and then decommissioning of assets were not done, and as a result the situation today may be different. Same thing may be there at the Moshabani mines or at the champion that shaft in Kolar Goldfield. I think those are the area for your learning, that how to do our mine closure in future. We will have to do those case studies definitely. Then decommissioning comprises different administrative and technical activities whose purpose is to remove or to minimize the residual hazards in the facility after it is shut down. This is done, exactly certain actions are taken, but whether this shutdown will not create any problem in far future, we do not know, because there had been cases, that is in a post mining mine site, when people build their houses and all, but after some time Even in the kitchen there is a sinkhole, and the people there in the garage, their car going down in a sinkhole because there were the underground void earlier. So that means we have not properly decommissioned those areas. Those examples are there. So that's in India also we have got number of areas where, that is, say for example, for Indian Railway is running rail line very close to the in Jharia coalfield, Raniganj coalfield, where underground mining, coal mining was also done. So whether if those coal mines are closed, what is the ground conditions there, have those mines being properly decommissioned or not, need to be checked. Then for the decommissioning, it is necessary to estimate the decommissioning cost and decommissioning liabilities, post decommissioning uses and the risks. We will have to do that. So what I have said, that acquire to decommissioning in mining assets, wherever it is there or any new mine is going to be commissioned, at that time we will have to acquire to decommissioning. So that at the very beginning we know when this may get closed and how will you do it. And this process that will involve the plan to optimize asset is by that you defining the asset strategy including maintenance aspects. You will have to define it, and acquire onboard refers to the obtaining assets and assembling them if necessary. Then operations to maintain, that means asset maintenance planning and execution will have to be inbuilt. Then asset end of life is covered in the offboard decommissioning. Now in many ERP, even SAP, that is our German company who give this ERP for this asset management and that your enterprise resource planning, there they have got the module of asset management, and there this type of your values are kept, and then it gives you a properly how you will acquire to decommissioning. So for that you will have to plan to optimize the asset, that your asset strategy and planning will have to be done. Define the asset strategy, how it will be coming over there, define the property strategy where you are using for what purposes that asset, and create asset investment plan. Whatever you are doing over there, you are some investment and it will be coming, and then you will have to have a asset maintenance strategy and analysis, that is define asset maintenance strategy and analyze assets and maintenance performance. From there your asset acquisitions will be done on the basis of that, where you will be acquiring the asset and you will be taking on lease the asset, which then the asset construction and build, you will be getting all this capital project on for where it will be there, and then your if it a construction, mining or oil field, wherever it is there, you manage the asset for doing this project, and then your exactly when this asset which has come and it is become an integral part of your business and giving revenue, we say that this onboard asset, the asset is commissioned, that commissioning is done, it is now operating and you are getting the benefit in terms of its getting. Now when you are operating, at that time your asset will have to be maintained, so that its productivity, you will find out what are the key performance parameters. So you will have to have the maintenance plan, whether you are doing condition based maintenance, whether you are doing planned preventive maintenance, or whether you are having a reliability centered maintenance. Those maintenance strategy will be put over there, and then you will have to monitor, so that that maintenance is proper. Whatever you have done, that machine is giving you return, you will be doing a, and then that your whole asset, if there is a accident or if there is an incident, if any failure, if any crack, all those things will be known, and then required repair will be done, and you will be going with a very well planned, data supported, data based, or sometimes even a automated maintenance. Nowadays with the IoT and machine learning, the machine can take some of the remedial repairing action by itself. Those things are coming, but that is you are operating the asset and then you are operate to maintain it, and then once you have done all this your maintenance performance, you are doing it, you are getting that asset properly refurbished. So then what you will have to offboard decommissioning stage will be coming. Asset decommissioning or disposal you will have to develop an exit strategy when your equipment will be going out. This can be even you can think of that if you don't repair and maintain and all that thing, whatever bicycle you are having, that bicycle also one day you will have to discard. So, this decommissioning productive assets, that will have to be seen, and then perform assets sell trade. So, that means what you do normally when your that bicycle is giving a lot of trouble and all, you feel like buying a new bicycle, you make a things, okay, I will sell it. Now, before selling, you may do certain operation over there so that you can get a better price. So, that is what exactly you find, that how you can trade off your old assets also as a strategy. Then perform waste and hazardous goods management. Now, when you are having the bicycle at that time, that is your some tire, tube, ring, old things, and then maybe a broken bell, all these things must be lying down in your garage or somewhere. So, that means when you are using an asset, it also creates some waste along with it. So, those wastes, some of them may be hazardous. When you are talking of in the mines, in the big machines and all, there some of the, that is your residues, maybe your lubricants and all, which will be having your heavy metals or the grease and all, it may create other problem. So, there could be those material could be hazard. If the battery is there, the car battery which will be having some acids which can create a problem in the soil. So, you need to perform and say that when you are discarding an asset, if any environmental performance will come in, and then during the operation period, you will have to manage the asset by managing by information. There comes exactly what type of instruments you will be using, mechatronics you will be applying to collect the information so that you know what is the status of the machine. So, that means you will be having a asset master data, all that thing, what is its fuel consumption rate, what is its vibrations, what is its temperature, what is exactly that if it is having any that is your noise levels, those things are managed as a, to manage that the data is acquired and intelligently analyzed. After that, you will be finding a risk you can assess. If you are finding, yes, that is exactly, there is a whole vibration is coming from the gearbox and the motor driving shaft is vibrating, that means it may find that sometimes you may give a warning your motor is going to fail. Similarly, if in the operations you are finding that because of sometimes the conveyor belt, when you are driving it over there, that belt drive is getting stuck, and when it is stuck, that means your that initial starting torque is going very high, so that the motor may fail. So, a lot of things can happen. You will have to do those analyzing from the informations you are collecting from there, and then you can say that whether it is sustainable or not. If the variation is much, you will stop and do a repair. And sometimes you will have to do asset collaborations, that different assets there, how you will be collaborating. You can collaborate at different districts, your that different different phase of the mine to different machines may be there, maybe of the same make. Some of the inventory they can collaborate together. If it is this machine is not having, that from the inventory of these machines you can take a component, when that component is not available in the inventory of this machine, you can do it, and properly you can maintain that asset optimally. And then you will have to optimize this asset for that you will have to define the asset strategy, define property strategy, and create an asset investment plan, and then your whole overall asset maintenance strategy, and you can analyze it whether the assets and the maintenance performance are as expected or not. Now, once this is done, you are going exactly, the asset is put, and then it has come up to the end of the life, then you will have to discard it. Now, when you are discarding there, or you are decommissioning it, at that time you are not getting any revenue, but this decommissioning you will have to use some persons to dismantle, taking it, carrying it, then some of the things maybe you hire a crane to dismantle some things, to carry and lift it over there, to take it to your warehouse or to your scrap plant, wherever it is there. So, for doing all these things, there will be some expenditures coming. Now, that expenditures may be today, or that may be 5 years after, if your mind, or in a 20 years, but you will have to be ready with that money when it is coming at that time. The provisioning, that decommissioning cost is one issue while you do in asset management. Now, decommissioning cost is the cost that the company is expected to pay at the end of the useful life of the given asset. These decommissioning costs are incurred by the company when they need to spend reserves to restore the production site and then the production equipment to the desired ecological conditions, because at the decommissioning state it is not only the taking out the asset, machines, equipment and all that thing, but you will have to restore the site so that another custodian may come and they can do some business over there. So, all this cost will have to be estimated in the decommissioning cost, which is done when we are talking about the escrow fund and all, there it is done. Now, as mining operations greatly impacts the ecological condition, decommissioning costs are high due to conditions to be fulfilled. Say for example, you are decommissioning, you are going out of business of a say biscuit factory in a city. That biscuit factory, there exactly not much over there, you take it over, then after that clean by bringing some people, and then next day it is ready for some other use of that factory house. But in a mining it is not there, because the whole surface is now in a dilapidated condition, derelicted site, big mining heaps, then big pit for there, then there is nothing, the trees and all, everything has gone. There to restore the ecological things, bringing grass, bringing shrubs, bringing all these plants, trees, then maybe there in the mines you will not be finding, even the ants may not be there, because that overburdened rock, it is not having anything, no larva, no this insects, nothing over there. You will have to bring those insects, you will have to bring some of the bacteria, you will have to bring some of the microorganism, then only it can be restored. So, that is why the decommissioning costs will be including those costs as well, and it may vary depending on the requirement imposed by the law. In US and in many countries, they say that you will have to restore the previous conditions, that which is never possible, but you can make a value added conditions, value added site. And then when we do that value added site, sometimes we say it is a brownfield redevelopment. When you have decommissioned the mine, after that what is left is a brownfield. Now, that brownfield will have to redevelop as per the country's rules, norms and directives, and there comes a investment, and that is why a decommissioning cost need to be planned. Say your mines is going to be closed after 20 years, now how much will be done at present value of that cost, and how much every year I will have to save for that. So, decommissioning costs are incurred in order to reduce the environmental footprint and to undertake by the company. So, that is how the decommissioning cost is there. So, this once you find out that is your decommissioning costs are future obligations that need to be settled by in the future by the company. So, prudentially he will have to put that money now. Mine management needs to estimate it based on professional judgment, reflecting experience and technical support. But sometimes the situation may be good or bad, we do not know, but thing is that we will have to make some estimations. So, how will you compute that decommissioning cost? It is exactly, you will have to calculate it based on the what perspectives of the company, how the company wants to use that land. So, you will have to do the on the basis of the present cost, and then your time value, you are assuming that there is no improvement in the decommissioning procedure of say 20 years, it will be going same way, you can assume, and on that consider the expected inflation, something the way it is inflation is taking place, you will have to give that inflation a figure, and then you will have to estimate and use a discounted rate, and subsequently compute decommissioning liabilities or provisions you will have to make. So, decommissioning cost can be regarded as a provision for decommissioning and referred to as a present value of future obligations. This what is the present value of your future obligations is estimated or provisioned as a decommissioning cost. Now, decommissioning costs pertaining to the property, plant and equipment should also be recognized as provisions that need to be paid for purposes of initial recognition. Whatever you have recognized it, for that you are doing it. So, it is a reasonable cost. You will have to, whatever way you will do, say your contamination is there, that contaminations will have to kept under, particularly in a nuclear plant. If you are doing any uranium mining, there if any radioactive materials are there, so you will have to do it, bring in inside the tomb, it will have to decontaminate, it will have to be dismantled, it will have to removal and disposal of all the structures of the systems, and then the decommissioning cost will be based on all those things. So, that means depending on your type of mine, depending on thing, these factors will be changing, that whether you in some cases you do not require anything, even if there is no acid mine drainage, you no need of treating the water, but if there is an acid mine drainage, you are treating that water and coming back may be a huge cost. So, the preparation for decommissioning will be requiring lot of engineering activities, and then you will have to plan economically. Then incurred after the actual decommissioning occurs, then physical security, radiation monitoring, that your procedural insurances, that health insurances, all these parameters and factors will have to be taken. And that is why the decommissioning assets and decommissioning liabilities need to be very clearly understood. The decommissioning of asset will be that asset retired from services, which may or may not include the actual physical removal from the premises. You sometimes certain things you can keep it over there, you do not take it out. And then decommissioning liability is, your liability is to restore that site, and then you will make it so that it is usable, so that it will have certain, that is your as a liability, it will be coming some financial statement you will have to make how much it is coming. Say for example, if we are having a company which is having a stone quarry, and then it has estimated that 10 crore rupees will have to be spent after 20 years. Now, if the rate of interest, applicable interest is your 5%, then every year how much money it will have to be kept. So, that means you can find that your 20 years ends, for at that time you have to spend is 10 crore, but when you calculate these ones, because of the 5% you are considering as an interest rate, that 20 crore every year, that means it is coming your 3.78 crore, you will have to place it, and that will be your decommissioning cost at that time. So, like that you are exactly getting insuring yourself for using that decommissioning, and then for that, considering this that decommissioning cost which is coming 3.78 crore at that time, you are keeping it over there, and then every year what is your accumulated depreciations per year, you can calculate out. So, this type of calculations are done, small calculations, but when it is a very multivariable and multiple things, this assessment of decommissioning cost is a good that it will have to take a lot of exercise, taking the economics expert, taking the financial expert, that you will be putting that finance management will be done. We are not giving that much on that how the financial management will be there, but when you will be doing a real mine planning or that mine closure planning, at that time you will have to get exactly, normally a team of 3-4 different discipline people will be working on a real life problem, so that exactly you can make a risk free financial plan you can develop. So, your new areas to study for capacity building, you will have to do with the whether with the renewable energy, some thermal power plants, if it is now if it is dies off, say that means now there is no need of coal, because the thermal power stations will be there. So, that means what will happen? The decommissioning of the thermal power stations along with the decommissioning and then closing of all the mines. So, that will happen what? When we are talking about this mine closure planning and the sustainability planning, you think of that if we get these non-renewable energy sources can give even say at present say more than 51-55% is coming from the coal. If it goes that you reduce the share of coal by 30%, means number of thermal power stations will have to be closed, mines will have to be closed, and for that lot of assets will have to be decommissioned, and for that a huge cost also will have to be provisioned, and at the same time we need to restore this area for other economic purposes, because millions of people are now dependent on this. So, that is why the area is here it is an introductory discussions, but this financial management, this closure finance could be a very important study from 5 or 10 years hence, but at that time, so that we need not look into the foreign experts, some of you must start taking up this closure related study, that is your mine closure, decommissioning cost and the closure finance, how you will be doing it. And for that the mines will have to be transformed, that as you can see here from the mine that again you are getting a new functional land, an agricultural field will have to be created over there. For that these physical properties of the rock where nothing is there, you are having a rock content, soil texture, soil aggregations, your water holding capacity, bulk density, effective your rooting depth and all, under these soil conditions it will not be coming. You will have to treat it so that its pH value becomes supportive to the plant, its fertility is there, your organic matter content is there, your redox potentials will be there, by how that exactly the soil will be treating, and after that it will be bringing some soil microbes, bacteria and soil fauna will be coming. After this treatment is done, then only this land will be converted to this. So, that is why my request is this conversion to take place means a lot of investment will be coming, that closure finance and closure decommissioning costs, and that not only that, the scientific explanation, scientific investigation, that is more important, that getting this who will be doing. At present some researches are going on, but still I feel it is inadequate, and all of you may be getting a lot of work to do if you have interest in this field, and I hope that government will soon realize that just like the American super fund, a few thousand crores of rupees is to be earmarked for these mine site restorations and then the decommissioning purposes, site restoration job, and then only, because it is a huge process, your interrelationship between land capability, land use, rehabilitation and mine closure as a function of planning towards a sustainable post mining landscape will have to be created, not a small job, but for that how you will be doing this, your undisturbed land to the land rehabilitation, land capability, how it will be growing, how you will be designing a landform, and then how you will do a rehabilitated landscape, and then how making it use, from the landscape architecture to the agricultural scientists to the geologists to the safety engineers to creating the new business model. This will be requiring few thousands of crores of rupees in India if our share from coal to our thermal production, thermal power production scenario, even if we reduce 20%, the number of mines will be closed, number of thermal power station will be closed, and then this business will have to be created, and for that we will have to create a new discipline of our engineering and science to do, that is called closure engineering. A closure engineering will be for the plant closure, for the mine closure, from the even sometimes we may have to change, the river should be closed for river diversification for our forthcoming this our river transportation. So, we will have to close some river to create a new river for our river connectivity, that will be also a closure engineering. So, closure engineering, a new discipline will be coming, and some of you should take interest in that. So, a good asset management system is very beneficial to the industry. It will help increase general production output, prolong the life and uses of all kinds of machinery. Then you will have to also see that our SAP and ERP, where there is certain provision of having a decommissioning cost, and then this the asset decommissioning and restoration, some provision is there, but in a mining industry, if we are having an ERP or SAP, there you will have to see that it is made, tailor made with this. That is also very, very important. And decommissioning plan and restoration plan of post mining mine site require detailed landform design and land treatment. We will have to do that, and that is where exactly you can develop your expertise. But for that, along with many textbook reference and all that thing, a field oriented studies will have to be taken up. You cannot do a mine closure study or mine planning study sitting at the laboratory. You will have to go and see the site, from there get the informations and do the needful. Thank you very much.